recent protests taking place at universities across the country. Phil, you and our ABC colleague Zohreen Shah found groups of students among the protesters who are promoting peace and unity. And I'm very curious to find what you discovered when you talked to those students.
Well, just doing this journey, being on this journey with Zohreen was great. You know, we've seen the anger, frustration on college campuses. We've reported on that widely, but there were moments of hope as well. Students coming together to show unity, looking to understand each other. And so Zohreen and I wanted to go out and find some of those kids. We understood that we are very far away from this conflict, so it's easier to talk about it far away in distance. And also, we're not naive to think that a few moments of hope can bring peace to the Middle East, but that's the path. The path has to be hope, right, Zohreen?
That's exactly right. I mean, hope is exactly it. It's key in this moment. And so, Phil, you and I, we went on this journey. I mean, we covered two coasts at two very different moments in the college campus protest. I interviewed a group of students at UCLA the very same week that there was violence and arrests at the school. And then, Phil, you went out weeks later once things had at least sort of calmed down. And, Phil, you and I are coming at the story from two communities that are often seen as very different. I think that's one of the most interesting parts. But we really wanted to find common ground. You may not expect to hear this.
Let's sit down and talk about it. We need ways to de-escalate. We need trauma healing.
While you're seeing this. Student groups pushing for unity. For weeks, division dominated universities as pro-Palestinian protesters demanding schools cut ties with Israel and companies profiting from the Gaza war. But often unseen were images like this of Jewish and Palestinian students praying during Seder and Passover dinners at Columbia, or NYU professors guarding Muslim students during prayers. Many groups encouraging unity, like standing together at UCLA.
Beyond us is the encampment, and then right next to us is where the pro-Israeli group was. Right over here is what Zara and Rachel are calling a third option towards peace and towards unity.
If we want a genuinely peaceful and sustainable future together, we have to lead by example and do a movement that's together.
We recognize that we may have differences, but we have one main common goal, which is work to find this political solution and promote peace and equality and justice for all.
Across the country at Rutgers University, Phil Lipof is with students doing the same.
This is the quad where the pro-Palestinian encampment was. The university officials made some concessions. The protesters disbanded peacefully. But even before October 7th, even before everything that's happened after, there existed a group on this campus called Peace is Possible, made up of Jewish and Muslim students. I spoke with some of them, including the group's president, who joined us remotely.
Having these experiences has made me realize how much we are talking past each other. Isolation breeds radicalism. It's really easy to dehumanize somebody who you don't have to have human experiences with.
How difficult is it to have these conversations when there are people in your life who feel the same as you do that don't want to have these conversations?
We do believe that bringing in guest speakers and knowing how what you're exposed to changes your views as you grow up. It's not easy, but if no one shows it, then people will not even know it's a possibility.
Peace is almost radical, being very peace-oriented in terms of like your political practices. It's not the norm in a way.
Back home, we don't have this freedom of action or freedom of political action. Speak and talk with other people and get involved is a bliss.
And one step closer to a future where there can be less of this and more of this.
Hopefully a lot more of that. And so now we're in the summer months. Phil, you and I thought that this would have ended a long time ago, but we're seeing that these protests are still happening. And I think that's one of the things that makes the work that these kids are doing just so much more important, right? Coming together on a mass scale, seeing each other eye to eye, and hopefully that is how we'll achieve peace one day when it comes to, one of the oldest conflicts in the world.
And that is the hope, certainly, Zohreen, of so many, but the brutal reality of this conflict and decades of this conflict and distrust and hate is going to be difficult to overcome, but that's what these students say their lofty goal is. And they're taking it baby steps, one step at a time, understanding someone, talking to someone, and we both agree that for everybody in the world, certainly, we hope they are successful. And on a personal note, it was great working with the colleague Zohreen on this piece, getting to understand each other.
Thank you to both of you.